the power of compound interest is incredible. And it's about starting off with a chunk of money and then putting money in every week that adds up to a certain amount of money per month. And you pick a date. You say, I'm not going to touch this money until this date in the future. And the key is that you start off with an investment and you put money in every month that if you lose it all, you're going to be okay. Like, don't do this with your life savings. Don't do this to the point where if that money disappears one day, you're going to be fucked. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Crane. Thank you for tuning in. Happy freaking New Year. It's 2025. We're taking over the world. Hey, so do me a favor. Share this episode. Subscribe to the podcast. Send it to somebody that you know needs to hit that next level in life and they're looking for inspiration. I'm going to be that guy for you. I'm going to keep showing up every single day, leading the charge by example. As a man, as a leader, in the gym, at home with my family, in my business, everything I do it because I want to inspire you guys to live the ultimate life. And today I want to talk about something I'm really passionate about. Two things: finances and my children. Now, we live in a world where there's certain rules. It's almost like we're living in a video game or simulation where if you follow the rules the right way and you kind of hack the system a little bit, you can live the ultimate life. But there's certain rules we have to abide by in society. We all know that. And there's certain things that we need, like money. Like, if you don't have money, you probably won't be able to do the things you want to do. You won't have as much freedom. You won't have as much opportunity. You won't be able to go to places, do the things, and live the life that you truly want. So it's important to recognize this. For me, money's not something that like I glorify and I'm like, oh, I just want to have all this money so I can flaunt it and flash it. I want money so I can make an impact. You know, right now I'm in the process of starting a nonprofit here in Santa Barbara, and I'm going to need to raise a lot of money to do that. But the whole purpose is so I can give back to the children and teach them. I'm going to teach the kids all the things that it took me multiple decades and a lot of hardships and struggles to learn. The things they don't teach in school about mindset, habits, health, finance, personal development, the stuff that I speak about on stages, the stuff that I share on this podcast, the concepts and ideas and philosophies I share with my students, my coaching clients, I'm going to start sharing with kids from the age of about 9 to 13. So I'm fired up for that. And one of the most important things to teach children, and I'm teaching my children, is finance. Because in school, they don't really teach you a lot about finance, and how if you start at a young age, you can get out of high school when you turn 18 with a perfect credit score and already have money invested and already have the mindset of an entrepreneur and business person. And they don't teach you that in school. But if you do that and you have the right leaders or examples around you, at a young age, you could already start to have a lot of control and opportunity in your life. Now, if you're somebody who has the right mindset, the right habits, and then you have money, you can do a lot of good in this world. You can buy a bunch of homes. You can start nonprofits like I want to do. You could start your own business. You could travel. You could give back to charity. You could help out loved ones. Like, there's a lot of good that you can do. And honestly, one of the things that's always inspired me to make a lot of money, like even back when I was locked up before I knew how to make money, it was just a desire to help people. And I always had these visions and like these ideas of, man, it'd be so cool to make so much money where I could literally like give somebody a check for $1 million, like a family member who is struggling, or you have all these scenarios in your head. Maybe someone's house is going to be foreclosed on, or, somebody needs help getting into college, or, you just want to surprise a loved one with a car, or just send them a bunch of money anonymously. And then not just family members, but people in need. People who are homeless, people battling addiction, people in other countries. Like, we have it so good in America, man. And I see others who go, to Africa, and they're building like water treatment centers and stuff for the people over there. Or they're donating money for food or shelter. Like, that's the good that I love to see in this world, and that's what I'm going to do as well. So I'm on a mission right now to build my empire so it makes those possibilities possible, right? But something I do at home, and something I just want to share with you guys, I incentivize my children with money because I want to teach them that hard work can help you create the life you want. Like, with hard work and persistence, not only can you get money, but then with that money, you can buy things you want. And honestly, that teaches them the correlation between hard work and effort and being able to have the life they want. So I always carry around a wad of cash. These are 20s, 5s, 10s, whatever, $1 bills. And anytime my kids want something, I will incentivize them to do a really good job with money. And now this might even be having Preston, who's 4, do push-ups. If you can do 5 push-ups, I'll give you $5, buddy, right? Like little things like that. Or Scarlett will come up to me and go, Dad, I want to wash your truck. And I'll let her wash my truck and I'll help her and I'll pay them. And then we can go to the store and buy it, but I'll also always teach them about saving the money, and they both have piggy banks. And so Mason, who's 14, I shared something with him the other day just to open his eyes, and I want to share with you. And this is something you should be doing too as an adult, but also you could teach your children. And it's all about the power of compound interest, okay? Small amounts of money invested consistently over long periods of time become large sums of money. It's astronomical. And if you've ever heard of Darren Hardy, who wrote the book, The Compounding Effect, he asked people, hey, would you rather have a penny doubled every day for 30 days, or would you rather have $3 million right now? And everyone's like, oh, I want the money. And he goes, okay, did you know a penny doubled every day for 30 days is actually $5 million? And on day 31, it becomes $10 million. Nobody would ever think that that was possible. So what he's doing is he's displaying the power of compound interest. And Albert Einstein actually said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. And so this is true for money and also your personal growth and development. The things you do today, the habits that you establish, the effort that you put forth will compound drastically over time. And it might not change your life in a month or even a year, but in 10 years from now, if you have the right habits and you take the right actions, it'll change everything. And the same goes for your finances. So a couple things I want to show you. And this is what I showed Mason the other day, my son who's 14. I said, hey, Mason, if you had $100, and we'd have to put it like in my name or his mom's name, through a bank account into an investment account, and you start with $100, I told him, right? And we're going to put it into a Vanguard account. Look up Vanguard. Historically, Vanguard will do 20 to 25% returns. Safe investment strategy with also a pretty moderate return. 20%, like that's pretty damn good. And if you put your money into a bank in a savings account, it's like less than 1% or something. So I showed him, I said, okay, you're 14 right now. This is something you can start teaching your kids at 10, or you could even start doing it for them the day they're born. I have accounts like this for my child Bella, who's not even born yet, and I have it for Scarlett and Preston, who are young. But I told him, if you put $100 into an account, and then every month you hustle and you earn $100. You go around the neighborhood and mow lawns, you do stuff around the house, maybe you get a job, a part-time job from time to time. All you have to do every month is figure out a way to make $100 legitimately, right? So that's your motivation, because when he sees this money that he can make over time, he's going to be motivated. So you start with $100. I know Mason has $100 saved up from his birthdays or whatever, and you put it into this investment account. Let's say it does 20% every year, and you leave it in there for 20 years. So you start with $100, you put it in the Vanguard account, but then every month you put in $100. In 20 years, how much money do you think that would be? So Mason's 14 right now. In 20 years, he'll be 34. 34, he probably, by that time will be married, maybe has a couple kids. So I told him, okay, let's see how much money it would be. It'd be $250,000 just by doing that right there. Like, you turn 34 and all of a sudden you have $250,000 that you can buy. You could use that money to buy a house. You could use that money in a business that you're running. You could use that money to start a business. Maybe you just use that money to send your kids to college because you already have a good career path. Who knows? But how many of you who are roughly around the age of 34 would like to just open up a bank account right now and see that there's $250,000 in there? Like, that'd be pretty cool, right? By only investing $100 a month and starting when he's 14, he can make that feasible. And then you can start to play around with this investment calculator, this compounding calculator. No, actually, it's an investment calculator, excuse me. If you go to calculator.net, you can start to play around with these numbers and look for yourself. I mean, and let's just do, like, for you guys are adults listening to this, so check this out. Let's say you did that same investment, but you started out with $10,000, and every month you put $1,000 into that account. Let's say you're my age and you're 36. So when you turn 56, you would actually have $2.8 million, right? And for some of you, that could be retirement money. That could be money to go travel the world with your wife, your husband. That could be money to buy a home for one of your kids. Like, the power of compound interest is incredible. And it's about starting off with a chunk of money and then putting money in every week that adds up to a certain amount of money per month. And you pick a date. You say, I'm not going to touch this money until this date in the future. And the key is that you start off with an investment and you put money in every month that if you lose it all, you're going to be okay. Like, don't do this with your life savings. Don't do this to the point where if that money disappears one day, you're going to be fucked. Like, this is money that you worked hard to earn, but if for some reason you didn't get a return on it, you're not going to be destitute, right? And so this is something that I'm really excited to share, not just with my kids as they get older, but all these other kids and parents, children that I want to mentor through my nonprofit. My goal is to educate people and open their eyes to what's possible, because nobody ever taught me this in school, and my parents never taught me these things because they weren't taught them, so they didn't know them. In order to really change your family's lineage and be the one, like Ed Milet says, you got to go out and get new information. You got to be resourceful. You know, growing up, I'd hear my Uncle Mike, who basically raised me. You know, he was a hardcore Democrat. He comes from a different era, and he hated rich people. He would like see Trump or other people on TV and be like, oh, fucking crooks, you know? And I never looked at wealthy people and thought that. I looked at them and go, dude, I want to figure out how to be that way. I'm still going to have integrity. I'm going to be a good person, but I want to figure out how to make $1 billion. And damn, how much good could I do in the world? How much could I experience? What type of life could I create if I had that wealth and abundance? That was my mindset. You see, a lot of people have a fixed and closed mindset that will prevent them from ever even getting close to making that a possibility. But they don't teach you stuff in schools like this for a reason. Maybe because the teachers themselves aren't very educated, or maybe because they have a curriculum that's designed to turn your children into factory workers and not entrepreneurs, not people living the ultimate life free of limitations. That's what I believe. I believe our school system is outdated, and it's our job as parents, as leaders, to educate our children in the right way. That means it starts with you. Are you the person with the right mindset? Are you the person with the right habits? Are you the leader and example that they need in order to help them to create a life by design where they get to do and have anything they want? In the process of them acquiring that stuff, make sure you always teach them what's right and what's wrong and why we're doing this. I always tell my children how fortunate we are. And I always talk to them about giving back to others, being good to people, you know, being examples for people. I always share with them why this stuff's important. It's not important so you can have a bunch of money and take pictures on Instagram and act cool. It's important because you're able to do more good in your life and you're able to impact lives on a scale that's unimaginable. So you guys check out calculator.net. Start teaching this stuff to your kids. Make sure you have a sound investment strategy too. I'd recommend Vanguard. That's a safer route. I also have a similar strategy in Bitcoin, and that has, you know, the ability to turn into a lot of money long term, but it's also more volatile and there's risks there. So do your research. If this episode was valuable, please share it, and let's keep changing the world together.